to conceive some of these things. As a moral person, you may say, I can't see how those girls had sex with their dad, and but they were trying to keep his bloodline going. And it's like, that's just not something we can conceive in this day, because if we saw that, that would be raping their dad, getting him drunk and raping him. And, people may say seducing. It's like, call it what it is. It's rape. And so, was that good or right? But it happened. And I think there is a goodness that the Bible does not hide any facts of what happened. It's part of what makes me believe it's true, because it ain't trying to make it pretty. It's just saying this is how things went down. And if you think that mankind's not sinful, you need to think again. Mankind's very simple, and you're seeing more and more of it. You also see the mercy of God. You also see the wrath of God. So, I hope where I have chosen to read versus talk about what we're reading, my own personal struggles and take on some of this stuff, I'm sharing with you. I'm being honest with you, where I even struggle with some of this stuff, and always have. I've always questioned God and said, Lord, you are holy, you are sovereign. I'm just trying to understand. Will you please help me understand? This just looks awful to me. And He's always made it very clear to me that yes, it was awful. It was just awful. And that I may not even understand the interactions of man and God at that time in history. Other things it may be that God thought it was as awful as I did, but He's still reporting the facts through His Word. Other things He agreed with. So it's like, here's my test. Here's your test. Do we trust God anyway? Even though we may not understand all these stories, and there may be some, frankly, gruesome facts and terrible things. And it doesn't even matter to me what my personal feelings are. It's the sovereign Lord. So if He says it is what it is, then I'm going to believe Him. I don't really know that I like parts of the stories, and I'm sure He doesn't either. But He's telling it. And especially as a woman, some of it's very, very hard. It's much easier to read in the New Testament than the Old in some of these things. But you also have to look back at what woman is, what she was meant to be, and how she blew it. How bad she blew and is responsible for the original sin. She's the one that listened to the enemy's voice and caused her husband, who adored her and loved her, and instead of listening to God, listened to her. And the two of them, but he was more accountable because it was the direct relationship, even though both of them had one. And so God holds them both accountable, equally accountable. Man and woman are equally accountable for the sin that they allowed in by not obeying, because they didn't trust God. They trusted themselves. They trusted what they wanted, what their eyes told them they wanted. What they let themselves and things and other voices become their God. And God will not tolerate that. We see that He almost wiped out I keep thinking, why didn't He just get rid of us all? He almost did. Except for Noah and his family. He almost did. And He started over. And he must have had a broken heart. He must have had a broken heart. If someone betrayed you that bad, when you have a broken heart, He's actually been pretty merciful. When people say He's not fair, I'm like, He's been amazingly fair. If we got what we deserve, we shouldn't even be here. But we are here. And He keeps allowing the stories to be told and this life to go on until He fixes it all. And He's going to do that when His Son returns. And in the end, it's going to go back to being those who trust Him and those who don't. And those who trust Him will be forever in heaven. Now, some of you may say, Beth, I want to trust God, but sometimes I have a problem with faith. You know what? There was other people in the Bible who said, I want to believe, but Lord, help my unbelief. There it is. That's what God wants. He wants to hear your heart is to trust Him. He also knows you will fail, and that's why He went to the cross to pay for it. I hope this has been helpful to you. Please forgive me for my tardiness and my busyness, but this is important to me. I want to read through the Bible in the year, and I want you to do it with me. And I love y'all, and I'll talk to you again soon. Okay? Read up, y'all. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Bye, 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 bye.